welcome back to the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel. It's Erica with you today, and this week we are talking vellum. So I am going to show you a few of the little pieces that I have left. This is basically all of my vellum stock that I have left. I have some on order, but I completely forgot about Easter week, so I forgot to order before, and now I am having to make do with this. But luckily I have a panel that I'm going to heat emboss this beautiful spring bloom stamp on. So we're going to do something a little bit fun today. It's a really fun technique. It's kind of like almost like a stained glass window type technique. So we are going to heat emboss this in white onto this panel of vellum. And then we are going to add some color on the back of it with Copics. Yes. But first we are going to treat our panel with some anti-static powder, because we are only going to want the actual image on there. We're not going to want like little extra bits and pieces. So we're going to use this anti-static tool very, very, very well and really get this anti-staticness on that piece of vellum. And then we are going to very carefully pick this up and put this into our Misty. And then we're going to stamp up the image and heat emboss it in opaque bright white. So we're going to use the super fine version of the embossing powder. And we're going to, of course, use the Wow embossing ink as well, because it is superb. Now, so this technique that I'm going to do here, I usually when I'm working with vellum, I tend to like die cut little leaves or flowers or something to, you know, add like little details. But this time I thought, you know what, we're going to do something slightly different. And I also kind of, you know what, I really love the look of like the embossing powder on top of that panel without it being heat embossed. I kind of wish that you can get that kind of flocked look. Now, to heat especially vellum, it's really important that you work quickly. So I am going to use my cork trivet that you can see here. It kind of, I feel like it helps to kind of bounce the heat back and forward so that you don't get that warping. But another thing, okay, we're gonna rub off a little bit of powder there, yes, make sure that it's nice and clean, and then we are going to make sure our heat tool is very hot, and then we're going to heat a little bit, and then we're going to back away, and then we're going to heat a little bit more, and then we're going to back away, and we're going to heat a little bit more, and so on and so on. You get the gist. But so the thing with vellum is that it is, because it's very delicate, you have to heat very gently and very quickly, and not all in like one go, because then you're probably going to end up with a very warped piece of vellum. So even though this takes a little bit longer, this is in real time. So it's about 45 seconds to heat this entire piece. But I do feel like if you kind of take your time and do it properly, then you only have to do it once rather than trial and error. So here, memo to self, if you want to heat emboss on vellum, save this video for future reference, because it will save you a lot of vellum and a lot of moments. So we are going to add a color to this panel, and we are only going to, first of all, we're going to zoom in a little bit. We're only going to use 3 different colors. So we're going to use yellow and orange, and then a very sort of dark, it's almost like a garnet red. So the first color is Y17, and we are going to add that to the top of our tulip petals. And you can see here, again, this is real time, and now we're going to speed it up a little bit. So we're not going to add kind of like, you know, we're not working to blend, you know, if anything, we actually don't want it to blend too much, because we're still going to want some contrast on the other side. So here, you don't have to worry about whether, you know, you're doing a great job or anything like that. Just slap that color on, like really just get it on there. The only thing maybe is to kind of try to stay inside of the line so that it doesn't, because anything that you get outside the line is going to show through on the outside as well. So now we're going to move on to our second color. So we're going to go yellow orange. So this is YR68, very dark orange. And we're going to drag the color from the empty space up into the yellow, so that you kind of get those, like, think the kind of like veiny look on the petal, the kind of, I don't know if it's called veins, but it's like those kind of little details. And we're just gonna, again, not blend, we're just gonna add the color quickly, and then we're going to go in with our R59. So this is very, very dark. And we are again gonna go from the bottom, we're gonna just drag it up into that orange, don't go all the way up to the yellow. And this is to add that kind of contrast and depth to your flower. So however you feel like you want the color, if you want a lot of contrast, add a lot of color. If you want just a little bit, you know, just, there is some kind of flexibility here. So, but there's a little bit of trial and error coloring on vellum. So if you overwork the colors though, they will kind of like blend in a little bit too much, I feel anyway. So I am using the flicking technique basically for the whole thing. And I feel like that works really, really well. And then we're just going to add the last little bits here on this one, and then we're going to move on to our leaves, and we're going to do the same thing, although for this one, or for the leaves, we have 3 different shades of yellow. Sorry, green. Now, to check your coloring, get a little bit of white cardstock or something white and just see whether you're happy or not. And then if you're not happy, add more color, but gently. And then we're going to move on to our greens here. So we're going to just do the stems a little bit, and then with the leaves with, I think I said YG03. I think maybe it was actually YG01. Yes. So depending on, again here, now I will say that I did actually add some G28 as well. So I feel like maybe the colors were not quite contrasting enough, or the shades were not contrasting enough. So you could do YG01, YG17, and then jump directly to G28, or do any combination of those that you want. But depending on how much contrast you want, you know, go with a darker or slightly less dark color. So I added the last bit here, and then I did my checking, and I thought, you know what, we need a little bit of that G28, and it really did make such a difference. The only thing is that, again, it was kind of starting to bleed into the YG67 a little bit too much. So you just have to be very kind of careful with how you work with your Copics on vellum. So just kind of keep an eye on them. And then when you see that they start to like react with each other, step away, leave it to dry for a little bit, and then come back with a very light hand in a little bit sort of thing. But this is our coloring done. So it's super, super simple. You don't have to kind of worry too much about it. And it looks really, really cool on the back as well, actually. So, you know, you could maybe like heat emboss it in black. Maybe that would be kind of a cool look as well, actually. But we are going to add this onto a white card base. So I am trying to embrace the whole white space bit a little bit better. I'm still not kind of like fully on board with it. I'm not gonna lie, I do find it quite difficult, but I feel like here the white space with the vellum kind of works a little bit better. So I am going to do a little trick to glue down my vellum without kind of like any adhesive showing through. I'm going to be using these scalloped rectangles from Pink Fresh Studios. They actually come apart. I was going to use both of them, but then it kind of either chopped off the top of the tulip, or it covered too much of the leaves. So I decided, you know what, we're going to get rid of the little one, and we're just going to have the outer frame. So with this, with vellum, don't go and use liquid adhesive. I know I'm always harping on about liquid adhesive, you know, but not with vellum. No, vellum does not like liquids. So we are going to use a tape runner, and I'm going to show you a little trick. So this one is the one with the tape that comes out like in little strips. So it's like this. And so I'm going to dot these along the frame, and we're going to speed this up in a little bit, but I'm just showing you that you can actually kind of do one by one when you have this type of tape runner, and it will save you a lot of time. Just kind of like dot, dot, dot. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you get the hang of it, you're good to go. And then we are going to add this onto our vellum piece here, and then on the back here, so to actually adhere this to our card base, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add a bunch of these little strips to the part that is covered by the frame on the front, so that again, none of the the adhesive or the strips are going to actually show through. It's going to be quite a delicate little look, yes. I quite like this look. And then we're just going to add a few on like where some of the heat embossed lines are. So that's the only place really that I feel like you can actually put adhesive or like tape like this without it showing through. So another little top trick for you there. So with this one, I decided, I mean, I really like this look. It's super cute. It's very delicate, very white. I am kind of surprised at how okay I am with all of this white space. But we need a sentiment. And we are going to use one from All My Love stamp set. And we're going to use the Can't Wait to Hug You. Now, because this is all heat embossed, I thought, you know what? It's not going to look great with black ink, which is what like my normal go-to. So I decided to heat emboss that as well, but go for gold instead, so that it just kind of gives a little bit of like a luxurious feel to it. And then we're going to add some bling-a-ling. Yes, we are. So I'm going to be using some of the limited edition dewdrops. But first we're going to add the sentiment strip as well. And we're going to use the same kind of tape runner, no liquid adhesive with a vellum, because it will bubble and warp and it will just not look very nice. So once we have got the sentiment on, we are going to be adding some daffodil dewdrops. So these are the limited edition ones, and if some of these colors are still available, so the daffodil and the fern, which I ended up using, I did not end up using the apricot ones, are still available. So if you want those, you must grab them as soon as you can, because it is a limited edition. Once they're sold out, that is it. They will not be coming back, sadly. So I decided here to just kind of experiment a little bit, because I was thinking it could look really pretty with some of these actually like dewdrops on the petals. But then I thought, yeah, they just kind of blend in a little bit too much with the yellow there. So I thought, you know what, we're just going to add some in my usual very bling-a-ling way, like around the flowers themselves. And I'm really glad I took the time to kind of just double check this, because I could have very easily just gone for it, because I try to not overthink it so much with my bling-a-ling, because I'm just, you know, I'm an over-blinger. I can't help it. I love bling. But I can sometimes, you know, just go a little bit nuts. Yeah, I know. I'm an overblinger. I cannot hide and I cannot lie. I love bling, and I will always add too much. But I thought with the yellows, it kind of looks like, you know, the tulips are kind of shaking off the morning dew. But with the leaves, I thought that could actually look quite nice with some of the dewdrops on the leaves still. So I decided to go for the gems actually on the leaves for this part. And maybe it wasn't a good idea, but I did really like how I placed these. So I think I'm gonna say it's a good idea, yes, because it kind of it's like a nice little difference there between like the ones on the bottom and the ones on the top, isn't it? You know, and I kind of feel like, yeah, it works. What do you think? Kind of pretty, isn't it? I like it. Yeah, I'm gonna say I like it. Yeah, I mean, I did trim off the sentiment banner as well, so that it's not, you know, hanging off the edge too much. But yeah, that is it from me for today. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and this card, how it came out, and I will see you very soon again. Bye for now.